Lola W. Only 2 countries, the US and Papua New Guinea, have no paid leave requirements for new parents. Stated by Julia Goodman, who has a PhD from the University of California, Berkeley, in the journal The Lancet, published in January of 2023. Everyone in this room knows someone who is an employee who has had the addition of a new child. They also see the inequities of paid parental leave. Some individuals must return to their job after 6 short weeks, while others take an additional time but are not paid. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services should implement 12 weeks of paid parental leave to any full-time employee after the addition of a new child. First, I will talk about the problems with no paid parental leave. Then I will express my solution and how it will help the problem these parents are facing. So let's begin by looking at what issues there are with no paid parental leave. Nearly 40% of new physicians have or planning to have a child during residency have no standard parental leave policy for these trainees, stated by Rebecca Ortiz-Worthington, who is a medical doctor at UChicago in the journal Academic Medicine, published November of 2019. The current system relies on private employer benefits, unpaid family medical leave, and state and local legislation. At the federal level, the Family Medical Leave Act, also known as FMLA, provides 12 weeks of unpaid time off. This only applies to employers with 50 or more employees and others who fall under certain criteria. Stated by Julie Bishop, who has a master's in social work in the publication of Department of Social Work at Minnesota State University, Mankato, published March of 2023. Unpaid leave provided to U.S. workers through FMLA is inaccessible to an estimated 51.1% of women as a result of eligibility requirements. Nearly 1/4 of workers aged 18 through 44 years were ineligible for FMLA parental leave because they did not work for the same employer for at least 12 months. Stated by Alita Sprague, who is a Juris Doctor in the journal Sage, published February of 2023. Employees rely on their employers to voluntarily provide paid leave, resulting in extremely limited access to paid leave, especially among the most economically vulnerable workers. There are no regulations in Minnesota about how much, if any, paid sick leave or time off is offered. The current system in Minnesota is a patchwork of coverage that fails to fully address the residents' needs when it comes to caring for the child and their own health. The transition to parenthood can be extremely challenging, particularly when faced with continued work responsibilities. 10 to 20% of new parents experience mental health disorders within the postpartum period. Among babies born in the United States in 2018, just 25.8% were exclusively breastfed for at least 6 months. Although many women would like to breastfeed longer, they must return to their job. Ultimately, whether the laws come from federal or state government, city ordinance, or employer benefits, these policies leave gaps that employers fall through, forcing people to go without income while caring for their child and themselves. Now that I've talked about the issues with no paid parental leave, I'll express how my solution will help women and men with a set policy. Parental leave should be a benefit available to all new physicians, like vacation time, with clearly defined options and ramifications. With a standard parental leave policy in place, residents will be able to make an informed decision about whether to have a child during training, and with a basic understanding of the effects of their decision on their family, but also their professional career. Germany was the first to enact paid maternity leave in 1883, initially granting lengthy paid leave after the birth of a child to women, not men. But beginning in the 1990s, a majority of countries in the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, also known as OECD, began offering job-protected parental leave specifically to fathers. According to Bridget Schulte, who has a master's in science and is the director at Better Life Lab in the journal New America, published June of 2017. The length of paid leave offered to new and adopted mothers in OECD countries averages 18 weeks, with some countries like Bulgaria and the UK offering close to 1 year. For fathers, the average is 8 weeks. Tanya Nordberg, who has a PhD from Oslo Metropolitan University in the journal Acta Sociologica, published in 2018, states that in Norway, working parents earn the rights to 49 weeks of job-protected parental leave, with 10 weeks earmarked for the father and 13 for the mother. Job-protected paid family leave of adequate duration and wage replacement leads to more income and gender equality. It also improves physical and mental health of children and the parents. Policies demonstrate that an organization genuinely cares for its people and recognizes the importance of self-care. First, I talked about the problems with no paid parental leave, and then I expressed how my solution of implementing 12 weeks of paid parental leave. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services should implement 12 weeks of paid parental leave to any full-time employee after the addition of a new child. 2 out of 193 countries in the world, including the United States, have no paid parental leave policy set in place. If we implement my solution, we will become a country that shows its appreciation for new parents and a country that recognizes the importance of self-care for yourself, but also your child.